Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Arrowhead Junction, a City Skylines collaboration project between Fresh Popcorn, Flux, and yours truly, Strict Toaster. If you have no idea what this project is about and why on earth I'm starting on episode 3, where's episode 1 and 2, you might be wondering. Well, let me give you a little bit of background information on what this project is about. So, a few months ago we started talking and we wanted to collaborate in one way or another. So we figured that the best way would be to build a city together. Now, City Skylines is not a multiplayer game, and I'm sure you know that. So what we're doing is taking turns building the city and passing each other the save game after we're done. And we're releasing weekly videos. Actually, every Friday we're going to be releasing a video on each of our channels. So if you want to follow this series, you might want to be subscribed to Flux's channel and to Fresh Popcorn's. That way you're notified immediately after one of these videos comes out. There's a mini guide in the description that we put together to make it easier for you to follow the series, because it's a little bit of an odd format, but it's really not that difficult, and I'm sure you'll find easy to follow. There's a link in the description to the full playlist with every single episode so far. Episode 1, just so you know, was on Flux's channel, where we actually, he terraformed the whole map that you're seeing here. He created the theme. We were all in the same Skype call as he was doing it, but he did pretty much all the heavy work. And also we recorded a bit of a podcast episode on that one where we explain in detail what this project is, some ideas that we have for it, and what the future is for Arrowhead Junction. Episode 2 was Fresh Popcorns, where he built a small little town, a few facilities, and a few other things that I'm not going to tell you, so you should go watch his video if you haven't yet. And for those of you who have seen those 2 episodes, let me show you some things that we need to take care of from what Fresh has done, because obviously he left some work undone. So I'm gonna click back on the game, zoom out a little bit. By the way, I'm trying to hopefully this will come out on the camera, but I'm recording this in glorious 4K 60 frames per second. So hopefully you have a fast enough internet that you can watch this. If not, don't worry about it. I'm sure YouTube will convert this to a smaller resolution. But this is the city of Lone, which is very, very small. We have about 600 people living here. By the way, just a quick note, I haven't watched, at the time of this recording, I haven't watched Fresh Popcorn's video yet. He's actually rendering right now. He just told me on Skype. So I won't be seeing this until tomorrow noon, which will probably be half point in terms of me recording this episode. In any case, I feel like I'm talking a lot, and we really need to take care of a problem that he left. Like I said a second ago, we have a lot of sick people. If we look at the this chart, where is it? Actually, we can just go click here. We have 106 people, and we have a heal capacity of 50, so we really have a deficit when it comes to healthcare. Now, the thing is that the challenge here is that, sure, I can just go here and plop the largest hospital that I can. I can just put this ugly hospital that I never use, even on big cities. And the thing is that, they really don't look great, to be honest. So I want to pause the game before more people keep dying and whatnot. So what I'm going to do instead is we actually agreed, Fresh and I agreed, and I think Flux was part of the conversation, but I can't remember correctly. We got this new assets. We got the rural clinic, and we have the small clinic, which both have a capacity of 25. Obviously, I might have to put both of them down. So I'm going to start with the tiny one, the rural clinic. And I think this one can live somewhere. Let's see, because that's the thing. This is the challenging part of doing this series, is that I don't want to ruin what the other person did. I don't want him to get mad at me. This one's going to be demolished if I do that. So but if I do this, this could work. Okay, so let's, I want to just get a street here and maybe even get that, actually, you know what? I kind of like how it looked, that segment of, let's see, can I do this? Oh, that's going to demolish the thing. Okay, so maybe not. I do like the segment of a gradient between the dirt and the asphalt. I think that's a great little detail. Same here. So let's see. Let's figure out a place to put down this clinic. So I think right here in the corner should be fine, but I also don't want it to, be right next to the power lines. So I'm gonna change the zoning. I hope yeah, that didn't ruin that zoning. Okay, and let's just grab the hospital real quick and just put it like a tile away. This should probably be fine. Let's do a little bit of decoration here because why not, right? So this is what the new clinic looks like. I actually changed the time of day so that the shade will look slightly different. But as you can see, it's pretty simple. All I did is just add the parking lot that we had. Actually, the parking lot came with the building. All I did is just add a little bit of concrete and fence it out so that it's a little bit more private. Very few bushes around, and that's the thing. Like in this kind of landscape, you don't like want to add a lot of vegetation because it doesn't really make that much sense. So we wanted to keep things simple. That's kind of what we talked about. So we were planning this series, but I think this looks okay. The problem is that I think we need another one because if I look at the graphics here, we have a hill capacity of 75 and we have 111 sick people. And I think these are piling up. Obviously, they're definitely going to calm down as more ambulances are dispatched. We also have the pharmacy in the middle of the downtown area. Or, I mean, if you can even call this downtown, but because it's literally like 5 stores. By the way, beautiful job from both Flux and Fresh. I said at the beginning of the episode, I really haven't shown much. This thing that Fresh did. It's one of my favorites. Look at this. This plan is just so detailed, yet like really clean around the edges. Man, I feel like I could have just spent a whole episode reviewing the work that these guys have done. It's wow. I feel like I'm not up to I a little bit, like I'm not qualified enough, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to match the talent. Didn't we used to have a something here? Hang on. Because I was sure that there was like a construction or something. Okay, I guess it wasn't. I actually need to go check out. I mean, there's no zoning, so I guess it wasn't. Let me put down another one of the clinics. In this case, I'm going to do the small clinic. To be honest, the small clinic could potentially work. It's a bit too tall. Like I feel like if the city was like twice the size, I would have totally put this one down, even though it's not as pretty as the one we actually did put down. But in this case, I think I'm going to try the small clinic. See, is this best? Yeah, that's actually not bad. There seems to be a path here, and I'm sure... Okay, there's no path underneath this path. What about this one? Because I saw him do that on Skype, actually. He did stream when he was building this. But you know what? I think that's actually kind of okay. In fact... I would probably do the same thing he did. Let me just grab the path tool here and see if we can let's just do that and maybe do this. So we can do something like that. Let's just go straight maybe. That might do. Yeah, there we go. That's doing things easier. Fantastic. So now we have a connection between this little neighborhood in the back and our clinic and obviously our main road. So I think this is working. So let's hit start. And in this case, do I want to... I mean, this asset kind of looks nice the way it is. I would try to like maybe fence this area. Does that make sense? That seems good enough. I don't like the imperfection there on the corner, but I have the power of bushes to help me. Let's actually pick a color. This is a nice color. By the way, I'm also using the tree rotation mod. So, I never use that in my cities, but I'm kind of getting used to it. This one's a little bit too crazy for this area. Let's grab this one and just maybe put another one here. And maybe just a little cluster of grass, just like so. And I mean, and nothing else, pretty much. Yeah, I don't want to do any of that on the other side. I think I like this much better now. Let me change the time of the day so we can see more clearly. In fact, I found out that 5:30 p.m. or 1700 hours. It's good enough for this little town. Wow, there's like a gathering of people in here. Let's take a look at the statistics real quick before we move on to the next thing. So, all right. So we have a hill capacity of 100 and a deficit of 8. It's not too bad. It's okay if a few people here are sick. As long as we don't get a lot of houses abandoned, I think we're going to be fine. Now, for this episode, I'm going to be working far away from Lone, at least for now. Because I have an idea. I want to build something that I've been I made this comment on episode 1. I wanted to build a rest area. And I think I'm going to clone Fresh Popcorn's design. And by clone, I mean I'm going to try to like design it the exact same way so that it matches, because it just flows so well. It's so nice, so graceful. I was thinking of building it here, building this thing here. But I also don't want to put a lot of stress on this road connection. Not that it will be, but because I'm not expecting that many people, driving around. But just start making this map a little bit more interesting. I'm going to start over on this side. And the first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of this ugly mode. There we go. I'm going to get a road to go all the way. First of all, I need to turn segment snapping on. There we go. Thank you very much. And I just want to get it to snap at 90 degrees. I think right about here. Don't worry, we're going to get rid of that road eventually. But I do want to land or meet with this freeway right up, pretty much at the same angle. Thing is, we do have the train connection here, so we're going to need to be clever about this interchange. Now we can simply get rid of we don't have the better bulldozer. We need to get that mod. This could have saved so much time. So I ended up spending some time off camera and tweak the original design a little bit. All the roads are in the same direction and everything the same angle, but I tweaked, for the most part, the overpass over here. Let me show you. This road still coming at the same angle, but instead of having one solid, overpass that goes over the interchange, or the interstate and the train tracks, we now have this elevation here that's, basically terrain elevated, or a bit of a hill. As you can see, I was actually on Skype with Fresh Popcorn just a few minutes ago in between the cuts, and he confirmed that he removed all the lights from the highway here. So what I end up doing is adding lights on pretty much the critical important parts. So like, the ramps coming in or merging in, and this off ramps as well. I even added a tiny little exit sign, just so you know. Wow, it even glows in the dark. That's actually amazing. And obviously up here, I added different colors too. I know he was playing with different colors when he was building the city of Lone, and I kind of like took up on the same, design aesthetic and applied it here. So as you can see, the edges of the bridge are, more of a critical situation in terms of security, because, if everything's dark time or nighttime, you really can't see anything. Just lighting up this area, I don't know, makes a little bit more sense to me. And same thing over here. In fact, I even took this approach and lighten up his interchange, which was completely dark as well. So as you can see, the on ramps and off ramps are now properly lit up, as well as the both ends of this overpass. But now it's time to switch gears and jump straight into time-lapse mode as we start working on the layout of this little, I wouldn't necessarily call it a city or even a town, because it's more like a couple of shops and some residential and even a little bit of industrial, but I'm getting ahead of myself. First, let me tell you what I needed to do in order to, when I started laying down the roads, I immediately realized that this place has no services, and all the services that we have so far are on the other side of the map in the city of Lone, the city that was created by Fresh Popcorn. So what you see me doing here is trying to get the power lines to bring them to my side of the map, or at least that side of the map that I was working on. I'm not taking ownership for the side of the map. And all this work that I'm trying to do there is just to make the power lines be straight against or parallel against the national road, and eventually the train tracks over there. It was hard enough at first, but then I realized a trick in order to get them there, using roads as as guides, and that pretty much did the trick. I think Fresh mentioned this during his previous episode, but like in areas like this, I don't know if you've driven in the middle of the desert or seen photos from it, but like roads, the layout for roads, and same with power lines, is that they just go cut straight, and even if diagonals or just like in the middle of a flat area. And I think the way they do that is because there's just so much room that it's just cheaper to cut across in a straight line from point A to point B. So I think Fresh was going after that pattern or design pattern, and obviously I'm trying to do the same thing here so that all the different pieces of this project match. And that's kind of one of the biggest challenges for all us three building Arrowhead Junction, trying to like integrate our own designs with the other person's. And obviously, I mean, Flux, Fresh, and I pretty much share the same aesthetic in many cases. So I mean, that's one of the main reasons why we decided to do this together, because we pretty much are on the same page when it comes to decorating things and, you know, the story behind things, which actually brings me to the story of this little town that I'm doing here. I ended up naming it, at first I ended up naming it Zamora Hills. Zamora Hills is actually the literal translation of my hometown in Argentina, but I realized that Hills is probably not a good name because, well, it's in the middle of a valley, so actually it's the opposite of hill. So I ended up changing later to Zamora Flats, which is a more appropriate name. And when it comes to the actual story of this town, in my mind, I was just thinking of, you know, like in the Spanish conquistadors, like one person named Zamora, like Juan Zamora or something like that, was the first one who roamed around these areas, and the town was named after him. And I don't know. It just seemed appropriate, given the style of the map and the theme that we're going with. Because as I was, I mean, you have no idea how much time I've spent navigating Google Maps. Like I navigated like entire interstates from California to New Mexico through Nevada, through Arizona, like you name it, even Colorado. Just like getting ideas and trying to come up with patterns that would work on this little roadside thing that I'm building here. And actually that brings me to the actual layout that I'm going with. So first of all, we have 4 shops. We have In-N-Out, we have a Starbucks, an Arby's, and a Taco Bell. And we have 3 gas stations as well. And they all are like a little bit, they're not sitting on the main road. They're actually sitting on their own road, and they're surrounding them, or they're surrounding themselves actually by parking lots. And in some cases also truck stops, especially in the back of the gas stations. I took the time to put some truck stops in, or at least, you know, parking spots for trucks. You'll see that in a moment. I'm getting ahead of myself, but one thing I realized is that I needed some population to occupy this town, because obviously the only population that we have right now, or before this, was the town of Lone, which, like I said, it's on the other side of the map, and people obviously driving from far away to here wouldn't really make it to work in time. So I really needed some local people to live here, and I ended up zoning a few houses. It's definitely a smaller town than the other one, but it was really needed for this to be sustained, because like the game doesn't really consider travelers passing by as shoppers as normal life or real life would actually behave. And over here, by the way, those big warehouses that I was doing a second ago was part of the only industrial element that this town has. And it's something that I found pretty often too, is that there will be like this tiny commercial district, a few little houses, and then a couple of big warehouses that's more of like, I don't know, imagine like a distribution center for a big company that, where trucks can get stuff from, circulating the interstate, drop them off there, and then smaller trucks will take it to the near city. Something like that. And I think ended up looking really, really nice. It does have a lot of jobs, which is kind of the issue that I've found too, which plopping down a few factories or like massive warehouse that in real life maybe like 3 people would work there, but like the game, or at least the creator of the assets, considers that since it's such a big footprint, well, maybe this place needs 20,000 jobs, and now like my entire population needs to work there to fulfill the demand. That hasn't been the case with this little town, but I did notice a few like negative balance when it comes to demand before I took over, especially in the city of Lone, because there are a few little factories there, plus the huge oil facility, beautiful by the way, that Fresh Popcorn did. Oh man, I was so excited to get this series up and running. Working after someone else, it's definitely it's not a first for me because I've done that kind of collaboration before for SimCity, but it's definitely a first for City Skylines, and the level of detail that we're going with here, it's really, really intense. Actually, just right here, I was trying to get only red tables so that they would match the color of the branding for In and Out, especially that bright red roof that they have. And I just happened to have some like Starbucks umbrellas too, so I put those as well, and they turned out amazing. Now these are the truck parking spots that I was telling you about. They usually go diagonally like that, and they pretty much fit the whole width of a trailer and, you know, the head of the truck. Is that how you call it, the head of the truck or the actual truck? Also, just to add a few more details to the gas stations, I ended up putting those hatched lines to signal, you know, like you cannot park here for security reasons. There's oil and, I don't know, like natural gas or GNC here. So, you know, I think it literally, like those types of details like really like make this whole thing a lot more realistic, even though like the lines are not like perfectly painted or anything, but it just like makes it that much better. Even this thing that I'm doing here, I'm putting this new assets that I've never used before that I absolutely adore now, which are like half buried tires in the ground. And this parking lot is definitely cheaper than the other one. Doesn't have any asphalt or anything. It's a little bit more rough. It's obviously farther away from the interstate itself, but I don't know. I just thought it was such a good idea to have like something like that almost looks like it's not being maintained at all. Obviously, palm trees and cacti are the norm here, and I'm always trying to like break, you know, the pattern a little bit so that it doesn't look like I just plopped something. In fact, that's something that really, really bugs me from some City Skylines assets, which I understand why those exist, which is the fact, like, for example, if I get a house and if I put it down, the house automatically has some trees, some bushes, and like a hedge. And usually I like doing those things myself. Sure, most people just zone things and they want the city to look pretty or as pretty as they can without doing much work, which I totally get that, the way people play that way. In my case, and I'm thinking that's the same for Flux and Fresh, which is, like detailing things on our own terms. So having a pre-made hedge that you can't remove, it's kind of in some cases, it's kind of a deal breaker. But, we're learning how to circumvent those things, and I think we're doing pretty good overall. Now over here, that little construction that you saw there, that's a school, by the way. It's a portable school that I downloaded. It's so cute. It's like really, really tiny. I think it houses, I don't know, like 30 students or 35 students, which totally fit this, this super small community here. Honestly, I can't really remember the actual population of Zamora Flats. I think it's slightly, so Lone is about 600 if I'm not mistaken. I think Zamora Flats is about 500 at this point. I did keep things a little bit more dense, so it's definitely smaller in terms of actual footprint, but it's a little bit more populated, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I need to check on that. And now switching gears again, on the other side of the interstate, I wanted to build this that I've been, it's something that I found during one of those virtual trips that I was just telling you about on Google Maps, which are like transfer stations that have like one lane of rail, like a very, very tiny rail yard, to put it in those terms, where trains can just transfer goods from one to another or to like reservoir tanks like we have here. So you usually see them on the side of the road where there's like two big silos and nothing else, and that's literally it. And that like a loading platform like that one, and just a few props here and there. It's all fenced out, so I'm going to do that in a moment. Maybe some pipe infrastructure, but overall it's like super, super simple, nothing crazy. I ended up adding a few more details just so that it looks, because otherwise it looks too unfinished, even though it's like perfectly realistic. So I ended up adding, a few more details just so that it looks nice on camera for you. That's usually how things work. But one thing to notice is that those loading platforms are amazing. I really like them, except for two reasons. Well, reason number one, which is, I guess, not as important, or I mean, it is important, but not as critical as the second one I'm about to tell you, which is the containers. I'm kind of getting tired of this like super bright, colorful containers. I think they don't make any sense in most cases. I mean, unless you're doing, a big rail yard, or unless you're doing a harbor, having those super flashy containers in general don't make that much sense. I know like the ferry terminal for passengers has that, the vanilla one has containers. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. So, but that's not the main reason why I ended up demolishing them. As you can see there, they're gone. The main issue was that those platforms, even though they're free, you can just plop them freely. They don't need to be tied to a road or anything. They were spawning passenger trains. Like if they were spawning, freight trains, that would have been one thing. But they were spawning passenger trains, and they were like clipping through the big oil tanker that I have there. So I had to remove them. I need to find, I think there's a ploppable that doesn't spawn anything, and maybe I can get that one there, and it just like, that way I can just finish that. Maybe Flux can do it. I don't know, because he's after me. I hope he does. Finally, over here, just, well, actually not finally, but I was doing some lining work, just pretty much following the same pattern that I just mentioned before we went into the time lapse, with the different light styles, having some orange lights, some white lights. I'm not as an expert as Fresh Popcorn is in terms of lighting, but I'll let him do the talk in regards to that. Now, finally, yes, this area right there, I'm just creating, if you look at if you go right now to Google Maps, and if you look at the areas outside of LA, in the middle, like for example, near Palm Springs, Southland Sea, that whole area, you'll see that there's like a massive valley where there's just very square roads that are in like different shapes. They're rectangles, they're squares, but mostly they just follow this huge grid that extends for miles and miles. And that's kind of what I was trying to do. There's houses in the middle of this massive grids. There's like the houses that have no neighbors. They're like in the middle of nowhere, literally. So that was kind of the design that I was aiming for when I was building this. Obviously, I had to carry over some power lines and things like that, but I think it ended up turning really nice. This is the final thing that I'm doing before the time lapse is over, putting down a landfill, which we needed because, well, people were in Zamora Flats were complaining about, lack of garbage collection. So I ended up putting that, and I just didn't want to like put it down and forget about it. I decided to detail it a bit, so that's what I did. I think it looks great. And that's pretty much it for this time lapse. I'm going to pass it to my past self, because I did record this after, and see what he has to say about it. And now that the camera no longer moves so fast, let me just take a moment to show you the results in detail. So I'm gonna get close here and show you, like, this whole area is my favorite part of this commercial district by the interstate. We have the In-N-Out Burger and the Starbucks. I mean, I don't know if you even notice, like, the drive-through sign over here, and this actual these are actual Starbucks coffee chairs, which is just really cool. I like how it turned out. I think it's awesome. On this side, actually, the gas station. So it's really common. I'm sure I've said it during the commentary, but it's so common to see many different brand gas stations one after the other. So we have the BP one that maybe didn't pay as much for the real estate, so that's why it's in the end, obviously Chevron and Shell paid a little bit more. And the same goes with Arby's, which actually was complaining about lack of customers as I was building this, but now it seems like it's all back to normal. Right here we have our combo police and fire station, which are not super detailed. Actually, I should probably maybe add a little bit more concrete here on the entrance. That actually looks much better. There we go. Just right on the entrance. Same over here. There we go. Like that. Nothing super crazy detailed, just some plants in the back. Really simple. We have another truck stop here with some parking lots, but this one is probably my favorite. Let me go into the cinematic camera. It's just nicer. There's so much detail going on here as well. We have let me try to get in. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's an actual road coming into this lot, even though it doesn't seem like it, because it's all the same texture. So if I go hover over, you can see that there's actual road connections in the middle, which look amazing. I actually saw, well, there's a car that's parked here, which actually doesn't look that great. I should probably fix this in the next video, or maybe Flux or Fresh can fix it. But you can see like the truck is driving through that lot, which, you know, I don't know why, because it could have turned left here, but it does look much nicer and makes it look a little bit more realistic. Even the sand here is just so incredibly detailed. This gas station obviously has a few more things to it. It has some of the lines that I added and the hatch lines here too to like protect the tanks a little bit. And over here we have this tiny warehouse compared to some bigger things that I have in mind. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil you anything, but it's actually not that small, to be honest. But I do love like the odd shape where like the fence kind of hugs this sort of triangle area, but not quite, so there's still room for more houses there. And also one of my favorites, this tiny little school here with the really rugged fence around it. I think it looks really nice. Now, if you zoom out, you might have noticed the last thing I just built during the time lapse is this segment in the back right here where we have all these houses that are kind of like lonely in the middle of nowhere, which is something that it's pretty common, at least in Southern California. If you just navigate Google Maps around LA, Palm Springs in particular, like that whole area, Salton Sea, you'll see a lot of this, like massive square lots with like the one tiny house in the middle. So that's kind of that was kind of the inspiration here. And this thing right here, I don't think I've shown this one on the time lapse all that much, but I'll show it to you right now. It has the little relay station here, and obviously another of these cell phone towers that is also fenced, in case people try to break in and do damage to that. And over here is a little bit of a transfer area of for trains. I think it's looking really good. I would like to add a few more details. I need to like subscribe to a few more things, but I need to check that with Flux and Fresh before doing so, because I did add a few things without telling them. So don't even mention that. They didn't realize that I did. Anyways, that's gonna happen. I have control over the asset list, so I can't add things as I want. They have to like ask me to add things, so I have the control. But it's good so far. All the things that they've been asking me to add, are things that I would would have added myself. So it's all good. But unfortunately, that's all the time that I have for now. So if you're enjoying this series so far, this whole collaboration project, this will be the time for you to rush and go click that like button. And if you're new to my channel, if you haven't yet, this will be a great time for you to subscribe. There's a big red button underneath this video player. Next episode will be on Flux's channel, so you definitely need to make sure to be subscribed to his channel as well, youtube.com/fluxtrends. The one after will be on Fresh Popcorns, youtube.com/freshpopcorn. All of those links are in the description. There's a mini guide there, like I said at the beginning of the episode, that you can follow. You can even download the map on the Steam Workshop, get the assets on the Steam Workshop, everything. So you can even build your own Arrowhead Junction, or at least a version of it. I'm going to be returning for episode 6 in about 3 weeks. And just so you know, I'm pretty active on Twitter. I'm going to be posting screenshots and comments. And you can also let me know what you think. If you have ideas for the city, those are very much welcome. Twitter.com/StrictToaster. Make sure to follow me there. But yeah, that's all that I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching and really hope to see you in the next episode.